Good evening, and welcome to this edition of Labor Vision. I'm Bob Delaney, Executive Director of the Institute for Labor Studies and Research. Labor Vision, a production of the Institute, focuses on topics of importance and interest to working Rhode Islanders. We hope you enjoy this evening's edition.
Brothers and sisters, that people that stand up for their neighbors, people that see that injury to one is an injury to all. So I'm happy to be here, and I'm not going to delay us any longer into presenting some of the wonderful people that we're going to honor tonight. And we hope that you have a chance to really speak to each other, right? Because we're building a movement. There's a lot of labor lessons here in this room. There's people that have fought for years, that have stories. You know, I know somebody that's coming tonight that's trying to organize the unemployed. People did that in the 70s, right? People in this room. There are waves of organizing in social movements that we need to learn from. So this isn't about just the past. This is about our future. This is about us building a loving community, a fighting community that won't stand for injustice, that won't stand for exploitation, and that's going to fight for justice for all workers. That's right.
So without further ado, let's get into the awardee program, because I know that's what most people are here for. The first award that we're here to give out tonight is for an organization to be recognized, not just because of their efforts in the struggle, but also for their hospitality and their place in a movement as an anchor for a number of different organizations. Local 799 of the Providence Firefighters, it has been a stalwart representatives of the labor movement in the Rhode Island scene for forever. And they have been our home for this event for a number of years. And it's been high time that we thank them for their hospitality, their graciousness, and putting up with us. So, without further ado, I'd like to invite representatives from Local 799 to come up and accept this plaque on their behalf, and if they'll be happy to say a few words.
Tell you what, stay in the struggle. Took us 8 years to get a contract on the executive board here, and it's just a long struggle and a tiresome struggle, but we never gave up. And with a lot of help from other unions out here that we know you guys had our back, and we'd like to let you know that in your struggles we have yours too. So thanks, and even if it means keeping the president out, we have to do it.
The next person I want to bring up for the next award is someone who I've come to call not just a brother in arms, but a friend, Patrick Quinn from SCIU.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Yeah, we do have a seniority clause, so when we're in the same room, that's Pat and I'm Patrick. Just keep it straight. On behalf of all our members in 1199 and all the other folks in the State Council, we have an award for Stan, but I just wanted to say a couple of quick things. We've worked together since 1986. We started out on strike down here with the nurses and the CNAs and dietary at Charles Gate in, I think, May 15th, May 17th of 1986. Rick was at that strike. A number of people in this room actually came to the picket line and supported us, and we immensely appreciate that. But that was a real eye-opener for me. That was a real strike. We had a very, very militant picket line. We had, I would say, complete engagement in the strike. I don't think we had maybe one or two scabs, and we had just an awesome time. And that's where I met Stan, and we've been working together for whatever, the last 20-something plus years. It's been a wonderful, wonderful experience. But the thing I want to share with people and make sure that they appreciate is that when 1199 would get in, right, then it was all in. Stan's famous saying was, don't worry about how it's going to end. So if you're on strike or you're in a fight and that organization is part of that, everything is on the table. The whole organization mobilizes to win, and most of the time, in fact, we do win. And this is a very emotional thing for all of us at 1199, because we've been so blessed to have someone as good for as long. And obviously other people are going to be recognized tonight. Marcia's going to be recognized. She's been a tremendous leader over the last 25 years. But from my perspective as someone who came to the labor movement in my mid-20s, I couldn't have worked out better. I worked with the best people. Many of them are here. We had an awesome contract campaign, time after time after time, won strikes, moved the ball forward for, I think, the whole labor movement, and were able to really create some standards in the state. And then we turned another page and we built the state council with all the folks that were here, and we were involved in helping those locals move forward and in moving our political agenda forward. So I just want to thank Stan on behalf of our members. Some of them are here tonight. I want to thank all the people that have worked with us in all those different struggles and supported us. And I want to ask Stan to come up, and we're going to present him with an award. One minute to read this, and again, thank you very much, Stan. We have a saying in 1199. 1199 is a warrior, and you have example one. That's all you need right here. They broke the mold when this guy showed up, but it says, "Thank you, Stan, for your leadership in Rhode Island over the past 25 years. Your commitment to militant rank-and-file unionism is unsurpassed." So. Thank you very much, Stan.
It's not often that I'm awfully speechless. It doesn't happen too often. But I just got to collect myself for a minute, because the people behind me are not only people I've worked with for a long time, but very dear, close friends as well. And it's a real blessing to work with people who are your friends, as well as your comrades, as well as your warriors. And most of you know at this point that I'm retiring. This will be my last year working for the union. Well, now you know too. And I'm not retiring from the movement. I'm just retiring from the union. And Patrick will be taking my place. And I feel very... and Barbara, by the way, Barbara Carter is the real deal, that was a rank and filer, I think, for 40-something years. Yeah, 40's enough. She doesn't want me to add the rest of the family. And it's a rare thing that we're able to keep staff people together for as long as we have. Usually people come and go in the movement, and it doesn't, last, and the longevity of people working together doesn't come close to the years that we've all had together and shared. And it's always been about the workers for me. It's always been about the workers for them. There's some workers here now that we're going to go back and get back with their boss. By the way, we struck him as well a couple of times. So I think we'll get a contract tonight unless he wants more of what he got a few years back. It's funny, when I walk in here, I had all kinds of memories because every time we had a strike at Women Infants Hospital, this was our strike headquarters. For many of those strikes, besides the trailer we had outside. And we had some really great parties in here, let me tell you. Some really good ones. But tonight, I want to just ask you all to stand for a minute. Everybody get up for a minute. And, you know, look around, look at each other. And this is probably one of the few places around anywhere tonight where people of different colors, people of different languages, people of different sexual orientation, all of us are together because one big tent for everybody is what the labor movement is about. It's what it's always about. And this is the most progressive place to be tonight in Rhode Island. And give all yourselves a round of applause because this is what it's about. This is what it's really about. A lot of people, and Patrick Crowley mentioned it, think the labor movement is dead. Well, if they walk in here tonight, look at these young kids over here and some of these young kids over here, some of these young kids over here. And you know, there, and some young ones over there, yes. Even another guy with a ponytail is over there. I don't know who's copying who, but you know, if I looked as good as you, I'd be in the movies, I'm sure. But the point is that, you know, there's going to be an ongoing flow of people that care, that seek economic justice for all, and I'm very proud to receive this award. I'm proud to be part of this organization. I don't intend on retiring from the movement. I'm going to spend the rest of my life fighting for equal justice for all and equal economic justice for all, racial equality for all, and I'm just, you know, I'm just changing jobs. I'm going to like retire from the union and do everything else I can to do what's necessary. So to all of you that are here tonight, on my behalf and everybody else, I want to just thank all the others that are up here to get awards, that are going to be getting awards. You can sit down now, by the way. Without the work, I'm only going to be another hour, so you'll get tired. You'll get a little tired if you're standing up, but it's really for me a privilege to get an award here. I've gotten a few awards this year. I think when people know you're leaving and you're retiring, you get on the award banquet, you know? Everybody's got an award for you. I understand Women Infants Hospital is going to give me an award. They're so happy I'm leaving, they can't see straight. I'll be getting an award from them. But, you know, the bottom line for me is, and I'll be real quick, is that I came to this job, and someone reminded me this today in the office, that I came to this job a long, long time ago. I've been doing this for 37 years. And the reason I did was I was a young guy when I started, and I wanted to change the world. I wanted to be a class-conscious warrior. That's what I wanted to do with my life at that time. I knew that that's what I wanted to do. I did the best I could. I intend to continue the best that I can do in the future. And I think that's the most important thing that young people in here that you could take away tonight, that this is about a class of people. When we look around, we always have to think about one main thing, not what makes us different or separates us, but what we have in common and makes us together, because there's nothing more valuable than our unity. The only way we could lose our unity is if we give it away. No one can buy it. No one can take it. We have to give it away to lose it. Let's keep it. Let's move it forward. And thank you all. And everybody, God bless you, and do the best you can.
Stan, thank you. Congratulations. Just two more things for Stan. We have a special recognition from Senator Whitehouse for you to take with you tonight. It's a very special recognition. We also have a song that we wanted to have sung for you tonight. So, Matt, come on up.
You must know someone like him. He was tall and strong and lean, body like a greyhound and mind so sharp and keen. But his heart, just like a laurel, grew twisted on itself, and almost everything he did brought joy to someone else. It's not just what you're born with, it's what you choose to bear. Not how big your share is, but how much you can share. It's not the fights you dream of, but those you really fought. It's not just what you're given, it's what you do with what you've got. And what's the use of two strong legs if you only run away? And what the use of the finest voice if you've nothing good to say? What good are strength and muscle if you only push and shove? What's the use of two good ears if you can't hear those you love? It's not just what you're born with, it's what you choose to bear. Not how big your share is, but how much you can share. It's not the fights you dream of, but those you've really fought. It's not just what you're given, it's what you do with what you've got. Between those who use the neighbors and those who use the cane, between those in constant power and those in constant pain, between those who run to evil, those who cannot run, tell me which ones are the cripples and which ones touch the sun. It's not just what you're born with, it's what you choose to bear. Not how big your share is, but how much you can share. It's not the fights you dream of, but those you really fought. It's not how what you're given, it's what you do with what you've got.
Before we bring up our next group of presenters, I'd just like to recognize someone who's very special to us in the Jobs with Justice world. Representative Art Handy from Cranston just came into the room.
Actually, these days we certainly do need protection. And the woman that we are here to honor has been that protection for all of us for many, many years. And so it is my absolute distinct pleasure to be able to stand here with my colleague Mark Bostic from the AFT to honor Marcia Reback. I'm going to defer to the AFT first and ask Mark to say a few words about Marcia, and then I'm going to reserve the last word.
It's great to be here, everybody. I have to say, I got my start in the union in Philadelphia, where I was a grad student at Temple University. And from the very beginning, we fought for 5 years for collective bargaining for our unit. And JWJ in Philadelphia was with us the whole way and was a big part of our campaign. So I just wanted to say how great I am to be here. I want to bring greetings and congratulations to Marcia from our president, a national president of AFT, 1.5 million members strong, Randy Weingarten. And Marcia and Randy know each other very well. Marcia has known all of our presidents for the most part very well. She's been at the top of the union leadership for a long time. She's you know, our governance structure, executive committee, executive council. She's on both of those. She's on our program and policy council for the K-12 unit, which, you know, of course, that's the base of our union is K-12 school teachers. And so she sits on a policy council that comes up with the policies and the agenda of our union, and of the members that make up the majority of our union. The other committee that she sits on that's dear in my heart is the organizing committee, and that sets the agenda for our organizing targets. We're still a growing union, although we're getting hit pretty good lately, but Marcia's been on all of the major committees and leadership councils that have been important to our national union. So I just want to say, and I'm going to take her words to describe her. She said this about somebody once. She probably doesn't even remember. She called somebody, and it wasn't me, the brightest bulb in the chandelier. And I think that at AFT National is really describes Marcia Reback.
Thank you. I think it's very important. I think you all know that Marcia has an unbelievable, stellar reputation across the country. And the work that she's done setting policy and advocating for us and for members across the country is really unparalleled, as Mark has led you to believe. But I think it's also clear to all of us, and I think it was interesting when Patrick talked about the younger folks and those of us who are a little longer in the tooth, as they say, to know that we are here recognizing 40 years of service to the union and to unionism and to our members. That's really quite incredible. You know, we're the Rhode Island Federation of Teachers and Health Professionals, and very often folks think of us as the teachers. And Marcia and I and so many of us did come up through the teacher ranks, and we came up through leadership in the union in teacher ranks. But I think it's very important for you all to recognize that we represent multiple constituencies. And Marcia, even though she came up through the teacher ranks, has represented all of us and hopefully all of you very, very well. The citation that we're giving her tonight talks about something that I think those of us involved in Jobs for Justice understand really well, that it's not only the advocacy and the good work that we do on behalf of our members, but it really is about the work we do on behalf of the common good. And that the reason that we are all here is not just for our own self-serving reasons, not even just for the work that we do on behalf, the very important work that we do on behalf of our members, but because we know that that work betters the lives of all, in this case the Rhode Islanders, that we feel that we represent or at least give voice to, as well as those folks beyond our borders in Rhode Island. Marcia has really given that kind of leadership to the state. You know, I remember a long time ago, Marcia, there was a picture of you in the Providence Journal, and I think they called you a bulldog. And most recently, if I recall, a former mayor said that you were Mother Teresa with attitude. And sometimes Marcia and I are seen as the good cop and the bad cop, but really Marcia is all of that rolled into one. She is tough when she needs to be tough. She is smarter than smart. And she has the kind of heart that's necessary for those of us who really seek to represent our members and the clients and the people that we serve. I owe a lot to Marcia. A lot of us in this room owe a lot to Marcia. We are going to continue to be a very strong union because of the foundation that Marcia has built upon and hands over to Frank Flynn, our new president. But quite frankly, we are who we are because of the many, many years of dedicated service that Marcia has given, not just to our union, but to all of us, to, as Stan said, the very many varieties of folks that are in this room and the multitude of people that we represent. It is my absolute pleasure and great joy to give you Marcia Reback, to present this award to her on behalf of all of you and all of us, and to thank her for the dedication.
Okay, guys. I know that I'm standing between you and your dinner, so I'm not going to be as long-winded as Stan. I fell in love with the union movement when I was a first-year teacher in 1967, and there was a little boy in my class that I couldn't teach. He just needed services that were far beyond anything that I could do. And I was non-tenured, and I had a scary principal, but when I needed help, the union faculty committee came with me to meet with that principal. And they introduced me to the union movement. My mother was a Republican. By the time I got done with her, she was a good Democrat. but I was born into a Republican household. I knew nothing about unions. And those teachers in that school, when I asked for help, gave me help. And that was the beginning. And of course, the next year, they voted me the union building delegate because I had the big mouth, and then it went on from there. Stan, you deserve every accolade. They're going to miss us at the AFL-CIO, the 1-2 punch. I don't know how they're going to replace the Jewish caucus. I am retired. Yesterday was the first day of not going into the office, and I survived that, and I survived today. And actually, I seem to have a lot of meetings in my calendar. But come the third week in December, I'm going to, wake up and not have any place to go. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I haven't figured it out yet. But I'm going to give myself some time, and I'm going to figure it out. So what I'm going to do is take this absolutely great award, find a place for it on my wall at home, and tell you how deeply I appreciate this, because it really is about justice for everyone. So to have this organization honor me is very, very, very special. And Stan, when you're off doing your thing, call me.
Marsha, I also have a certificate here for you from Senator Whitehouse for you to take with you tonight. And we also have a song for you to play, so.
Songs are in your songbook. If you want to sing along, feel free. Your song sheet, the blue sheets, they're around somewhere. This one's the popular wobbly. They go wild, simply wild over me, and I've nothing done them harm as I can see. I'm as gentle as a lamb, but they take me for a ram. They go wild, simply wild over me. Oh, the boss, he went wild over me, and he held his gun as high as he could see. He was breathing rather hard when he saw my union card. He went wild, simply wild over me. Well, the commissioner, she went wild over me, and I plainly saw that we could not agree. So I let her obey what her conscience had to say. She went wild, simply wild over me. Oh, the superintendent, he went wild over me, and he locked me up and threw away the key. It seemed to be the rage, so they keep me in a cage. They go wild, simply wild over me. Will the roses grow wild over me when I'm gone to the land that is to be? When my soul and body part, will the stillness in my heart, the roses grow wild over me?
Okay, before we bring up our next presenter, and ask my sister Karen Bacchus here from SEIU Local 580 to do our 50-50 raffle number here. Now you're going to read off the number.
And the number is 1, 4, 2, 6, 1, 3.
All right, the next award is a very special award. If I could ask Jan Campbell to make her way up to the front here. This is a posthumous award, so I'm going to turn it over to Jan for an explanation of what we're doing here. Jan, thank you.
Hello, everybody. What a great turnout. Good job, everybody. Takes work to get everybody out here. I have the sorrow and the great pleasure to talk about my old and dear comrade, Arlene Bolvin. How many people in this room had the honor of knowing Arlene? Raise your hands. Well, everybody that raised their hands, you are some of her favorite people on earth. I'll tell you that right now, and you know who you are, because she's worked with you in the struggle over the years. I first met Arlene when she was 19 years old and I was 21, and we worked together at NETCO, the old New England Training Center for Community Organizers. I was teaching people how to lobby, and she was there writing the newsletter. But pretty quickly, she started to turn into an organizer, which we're all very happy about. Arlene had the unique ability to walk among a whole lot of different groups, effortlessly. People who didn't get along with other people, she could always get along with them. She understood that people had different points of view, different obligations based on different national organizations or whatever it might be. But she organized around the principle of love. She had forgiveness, because we need that. We need compassion for each other. If we want to be in this for the long term, that's the key thing we need, because we're all family. We all have family fights. We all know each other's good sides, bad sides, whatever. But Arlene had the unique ability to walk through human beings, organize them, and get things done. When she was at NETCO, she started to get involved with National People's Action, and in that capacity, she helped to win the Community Reinvestment Act, which has given housing to many, many moderate-income people. The other thing that she did that she was really quite famous for was work on health care. And this part reminds me of a bigger theme, and that is you never know when the seeds that you plant are going to flower. Arlene became very, very active in the single-payer healthcare movement at a time when a lot of us who had been in it for a long time were getting really tired. That we were under siege, and she was like the cavalry coming in with fresh energy. She put together the Single Payer Rhode Island Coalition, and in the dark days of the late 90s, when we weren't sure we would ever get any health care, she just kept plugging and building coalitions and bringing people together. And over the years, she really inspired people, especially on the national level, that were really, really tired in their tracks, but she gave them that wind to pick up and keep trying. And as a result of a lot of her efforts, we were able to get somebody from the single payer movement to be the healthcare LA for Congressman Conyers in Washington, D.C. And he led, along with Congressman Conyers, the whole fight for healthcare behind the scenes when nobody knew what was going on. And I think Arlene is one of the key people behind the scenes that really enabled us to win what we won on the healthcare bill recently. And I think she needs a big round of applause for that. She also worked tirelessly as director of CCJ, not only on the healthcare, but on utility issues. And she was very helpful in putting together People's Power and Light and pushing for alternative energy. She worked against triple trailer trucks being expanded into Rhode Island. There's so many issues that she's worked on over the years that we would be here all night talking about it. But I want to talk about her as a person. She was a total hot sketch. When she walked into the room, you knew it. She was sassy, she was sexy, she was smart, and she actually was a person that was one of the humblest people you ever want to meet. For someone who had all that going for her, she was never thinking that she was, you know, the bee's knees or whatever. She was so humble. All she wanted to do was to earnestly be there and move issues and build coalitions and leave the world a better place than she found it. And I think in that way, she was extremely, extremely successful. And I'm just delighted to be able to speak on her behalf right now. And if she was here, I know what she would want me to say. Because she talked a whole lot, if you were in conversation with her one-on-one, about love. And that's what I really want to bring up. The power of love is what separates us from the teabaggers. It's really true. The teabaggers are all about me, 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 me. I don't want to pay my taxes. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I just want to be rich and like go to the country club and have a gay old time. The difference between them and us is they are about me and we are about we. And that's something Arlene never, ever forgot. She came from good stock. She's a descendant of Stephen Hopkins, and her grandfather, anybody here from the laborers? He was Christopher Hopkins. He was the head of the laborers back in like the 30s and 40s. So I think that brings another theme back to us. What can we do so that our grandchildren are doing what we're doing right now when they're our age? Because that's another thing she would really, really want us to do. And she has such wonderful boys, and they sacrificed so much over the years so that she could do what she did. And I think that she would be very, very proud of them if she were here. And now I would like somebody from the homeless movement to come and speak. His name is Stan, and he knew Arlene really well because very recently she has been working for Street Sites right before she passed and doing beautiful writing work, which she came full circle from Netco where she wrote, back to being a reporter again for Street Sites, and I think she would like to have gone out that way. So Stan, please come and say a few things on behalf of the homeless, and then I'll present the boys with the award to Arlene.
Hi, my name's Stan Kapluski, and I work for Street Sites. I've been doing the paper since its recreation back in 2007. It's a free paper, and there's not one person that gets paid on the staff. We went from 200 copies to now we're up to 3,000. And Arlene joined us 2 years ago, and I worked really well with her, and we collaborated on quite a few stories. And there was, at the meetings, sometimes it's tough because we had a homeless community at the meetings, and some people try to come in a little drunk and all that kind of stuff, and hassle people, and no one gets an agreement and stuff. And Arlene would always pull people aside and talk to them especially, and she just had a heart that was bigger than a human should normally have. But she was just a lovely person, and there's nothing in the world that I wouldn't do for her because we did so much together, in the paper to make the paper what it is today. And she would just keep volunteering, and like I said, no one gets paid at the paper. It's all from the heart, 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week. And Arlene went out of her way, gave people rides, brought people places where they needed to go, and God bless her. And I know she's watching down on us from heaven. I put a couple copies on each table, and if anybody else needs a couple, I got like 20 more copies. So if anybody needs a copy, Arlene's on page 12. We did a memorial for her.
So that's page 12 in the newspaper, and in your program, it's on page 22. There's a picture of her. She sure was a pretty gal. Anyway, at this point, I would like to present to her two sons who I've known since they were babies. They were adorable then. They still are. This lovely plaque on behalf of Jobs with Justice, which Arlene was very instrumental in building from the early days. This is Casey and Mark, and could everybody give them a round of applause? We all know how much the kids sacrifice in order for us to win the things we do. So to me, it is all about the support of the families. And anybody else, is there anybody else out there who's a family member of an organizer or a union person or whatever out here? Okay. Well, you need a round of applause too, because the families keep us doing what we're doing. I'm very honored to present this award, which says Victory, Solidarity, Reciprocity. No, that's what Arlene was about, all right. Rhode Island Jobs with Justice, 14th Anniversary Annual Awards Night, November 30th, 2010. in memory of Arlene Bolvin for inspiring us all with her lifetime commitment to justice.
I'd like to thank everyone for honoring my mother, Arlene. She was strong and passionate for economic justice, healthcare reform, and consumer rights. Seeing you all here makes me know her tireless work will be carried on through all of you. Thank you.
I didn't really have anything to say or anything planned to say, but thank you for all being here, and you know what I'm saying, whatever struggle that you're going through, I hope you find crazy motivation through it. You know what I'm saying? Because I definitely found crazy motivation through the passing of my mother. So please, whatever it is that you're here for, thank you for being here.
Okay. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, everyone, very much. Here's what we're going to do. The food is ready to be served. There are some of the SEIU brothers and sisters need to get back to negotiations because they may get their contract ratified tonight. So we have another set of awards to do. We're going to have a song. We're going to get some grub. We're going to sit back down and finish the second half of the program. That's food if you're not Irish American. We're going to get some food, sit back down, get another beer if you're from other parts of the New England area. Take a break and sit back down. Sing the songs if you have the words in front of you. Thank you. Take a break. A few of my colleagues and co-workers, brothers in arms, Frank Flynn, and Jim Parisi.
Good evening. It's a tremendous honor to be able to recognize this next group of people. Last spring, as you recall, Superintendent Gallo, in collusion with Commissioner Gist, unilaterally fired the entire faculty and staff at Central Falls High School, which is probably the greatest injustice in the educational system in the state of Rhode Island. Without regard to due process or any other laws, she's summarily dismissed that. And it's a tremendous honor to me, and I'm so very proud to be able to present to Jane Sessoms and the entire faculty and staff of Central Falls High School this prestigious award. I just wanted to tell you that with the help of the Rhode Island Federation of Teachers, the American Federation of Teachers, and Marcia Reback and Randy Weingarten were instrumental. This battle for justice in the workplace went all the way to the halls of Congress and the walls of the White House in order for them to get the justice that they would do. And I'd like to call Jim Parisi, who was instrumental in that battle, to come up and say a few words as well.
Thank you, Frank, and thank you for recognizing the importance of what the Central Falls Teachers Union did for workers around the country this past spring. As Frank said, Central Falls teachers were the first in this country to encounter this moronic idea that you improve schools by firing the teachers. This idea has been floated not by people who've spent their lives, their working lives in the classroom, but from well-moneyed corporations funded by some of the wealthiest people in this country who know that one of the last groups fighting to preserve the middle class are the teachers' unions in this country. I thank God that the ridiculous idea of improving schools by firing the workers was tried in the square mile city of Central Falls, Rhode Island. Because what happened there was that management encountered a union that doesn't go along to get along and then doesn't concede its way out of a fight that needed to be fought. I am so proud to have worked closely with all of them as they stood up to an employer who did one of the most brutal things an employer could do, which is coerce and threaten people to get their way. That employer was supported by our state bureaucracy. That employer was supported by the silence of countless politicians in this country and in this state. That policy was supported by our Commissioner of Education. That awful policy was supported by the United States Department of Education. And what pains me the most is that policy was supported by someone who I voted for, the President of the United States of America. And it was the courage of a 330-member union in the square mile city of Central Falls that stared down the bad idea, stood up for the rights of the workers, and stood up for the kids that they taught. And it is with great honor that I am here today with a drink in hand, because it happened during Lent. I had this crazy idea to give up alcohol in February. And I am here to assist Frank Flynn in presenting this important award to Jane Sessoms, who is a rock in the labor movement.
Thank you very much, everyone. I would like to begin by congratulating all the recipients that were honored this evening, and especially Stan Israel and Marsha Reback. Marsha has been unbelievably supportive and a great leader over these many, many years. And I would also like to thank Jobs with Justice, because last year, during that terrible struggle last winter and spring, when all of our high school teachers were fired unjustly and without due process, Jobs with Justice was there when we had that first rally in Jenks Park in Central Falls, and they were there helping us to meet with our community leaders that we needed to do so. And I thank you very much for doing that. And Camille, thank you very much for getting so involved. And it goes without saying, I'd like to thank National AFT and Mark Bostic, who's here this evening representing them, who worked with us day in and day out to get our teachers rehired. And of course, Jim Parisi, who was there every step of the way. Without him, I don't think that we could have gotten it done. And finally, it's because of the teachers that did stand united, and we stood together. I think at a time that would have been it would have been much easier for us to bend and give, but we knew that we couldn't, not just for us, but for the labor movement and teachers across this country. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Just like to recognize a very good friend of Rhode Island Jobs with Justice and another newly elected member of the Rhode Island General Assembly, Representative-elect Chris Blazajewski. Is here. And I don't think we could let the evening pass without at least acknowledging this is our 14th anniversary dinner tonight. Next year will be a special anniversary, obviously the 15th. And the first person that Rhode Island Jobs with Justice ever hired. He's standing next to someone who still has his ponytail. He's gone kind of upscale on us now because he doesn't have the ponytail anymore. But Rhode Island Jobs and Justice first staff person, Matt Jerzyk, is here tonight. Matt, want to just say hi to everyone? Good to see you, Matt. Yeah, Stan still has his ponytail. We don't know what happened to Matt. I'd like to welcome up to the podium Karen McInich to present our next award.
Actually, it's going to be Penina.
I'm sorry? Penina is going to present the next award.
Is Penina in the other room maybe? Because she was here a second ago, so I don't want to steal her thunder.
Vamp with it, Karen.
Okay, all right, I gotta go. We just had, and I'm sure other people in the past and even in the present are having similar fights and have had the same support, but we just had a fight at Brown University with the library workers where the students of the Student Labor Alliance were instrumental in supporting us and sticking up for what's right, and I think that everybody needs, oh, there you go, I knew she was here. Okay, I'm gonna pass the podium on to Penina. Penina Posner works at the Brown Library.
Sorry, Karen.
That's okay.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Penina Posner, Brown University alum, Senior Library Specialist at Brown University, and a proud member of the United Service and Allied Workers of Rhode Island. I am delighted to see the Brown Student Labor Alliance receive this recognition tonight because I have seen firsthand how brilliantly this student organization has mobilized people on and off campus to support the library workers during our recent very difficult contract negotiations with Brown's current administration. Brown SLA organized and held empowering rallies and demonstrations, relentlessly called and emailed administration, repeatedly created petitions with hundreds of signatures, sent numerous student delegations to key administrators, and through letters and articles in the Brown Daily Herald created an enormous base of support for us on campus. What I have mentioned are just some examples of their many efforts to turn the tide of injustice away from us as they tirelessly worked to help facilitate a reasonable outcome for all the Brown Library workers. They got their message across with intelligence and humor as they confronted those in power who so often become insulated by their own authority. During this time, I was working one morning in the library and went over to the coffee cart in the lobby to get a cup of coffee. Not having enough change, I offered to come back later, but a student worker said to me, with just the slightest tone of righteousness, "Don't worry about it. Library workers should get free coffee." Now, as much as I'd like free coffee, what I was thinking about after I thanked her and walked away was, now we are no longer invisible. We are appreciated, we are valued. The students of the Brown SLA are a privileged class, not just because they are Brown students, but because they are bright, gifted, and talented and have used their abilities to give back to the people who need it the most. Workers who are often invisible, undervalued, or abused. Open the mind of one person and you have enlightenment. Open the minds of many people and you have a revolution. This is why I consider you, the members of the Brown SLA, to be revolutionaries of the finest sense. Always remember how much your powerful voices, your sense of justice, and your goodness has affected the working lives of those around you. I'm so proud to know you. You are an inspiration to us all.
We're just going to say a couple quick things. We've been really honored the past year to stand in solidarity with a lot of organizations, a lot of unions struggling in Rhode Island. From the West End workers, Brown recently passed a resolution not to stay at the West End and hold no events there until the workers get a contract. And, we've been really excited to be part of the struggles of a couple of different groups of workers in the past year, the West End workers, the library workers, our campus food service workers. And I think we're really honored to be part of that coalition because it's a reminder that us, along with the students at Providence College, who are also here with us tonight, and students across the state of Rhode Island are in this struggle with workers together, and when we work together and fight together, we can shift power and win justice.
Thank you. I'd like to bring up Greg and Cynthia so we can, for our next award.
Buenas noches.
Good evening.
Mi nombre es Cynthia Nazar.
My name is Cynthia Nazar.
Estoy aquí para hacerle un otorgamiento.
So I'm here to do a presentation
para los estudiantes de Providence College.
To the students of Providence College.
Es un honor para nosotros.
It's an honor for us.
Estar con ellos días a día.
To be with them day by day.
Y agradecerle por soportarnos.
And we thank them for supporting us.
Y estar colaborando con ellos.
And for their collaboration.
Y mil gracias por darnos su apoyo.
1,000 thanks for giving us your support.
Y espero que nos lo sigan dando.
And I hope you keep giving it.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this evening's edition of Labor Vision. We appreciate your input and encourage your comments. Labor Vision can be seen 3 times each week here on Channel 14. Join us on Tuesdays at 7 p.m., Thursdays at 8 p.m., and Saturdays at 5 p.m.
Thank you for joining us for this week's edition of Labor Vision. We're committed to bringing you the legislature into your living room. We're going to be hosting monthly topics of conversation with members of the Rhode Island General Assembly. If you have any thoughts or if you have any ideas on future topics for us to cover, please feel free to contact us at info@rhodeislandlaborinstitute.org.